All right, so Ben, yesterday you made an announcement on Coffee with Karen about donation, about bringing some money into the wool mill. What kind of explain that because that's kind of created some buzz if you want.
Yeah, it's been fun, John. It's one of those things. It's like, okay, we have an idea. Let's just try it and see what happens. Donation versus investment. I wouldn't necessarily call it a donation, or more of a contribution. So we're not looking for a formal legal partners at this moment in this setup in the mill. What we're looking for is we have cool things we do every day, and people come through on tours. People follow us online. And they say, how do we help this? How do we support American-made manufacturing? How do we support American ranches? We want to be a part of this, and so it's more of a mission rather than a financial partnership. It's more of a mission partnership. So Mountain Meadow Wool's mission and values, we're trying to share that with people to say, hey, if you want to help and let's do something cool together, and let's find a way to do it. So people are providing, in this sense, the money, and we're providing the labor and the time, and we say, okay, we have some money, we have some time, we have the expertise at Mountain Meadow Wool. Let's do this cool thing. Let's develop some new product. Let's innovate, and I think that's the main goal.
So that partnership really, because here at Mountain Meadow Wool, this is just not a wool factory, a
Right.
manufacturing, or however you want to say that. I mean, there's a lot more that this mill does that affects a lot of different people.
It is, and I think I don't really know how we're going to look in 20 years, but I know that's what keeps me up at night is figuring out what do we do differently. Why do we have manufacturing in the United States? Well, we don't do it as cheap as they do overseas. Um, is our quality better than overseas? Sometimes. Sometimes overseas quality is awesome as well. So what do we do? Why do we do it here in the United States? And that's where, like you mentioned, we're not just a manufacturer. We're developing. How do we develop labor, skill sets? How do we give people an opportunity to come to work and make something and have pride in what they make? And it's more of that value, mission-driven opportunity as a company to take manufacturing to the how do we do it different? How do we do it better? How do we create a new ideal in manufacturing in the United States?
So Mountain Meadow Wool is not a 501c3.
Correct. Yeah, we're not a nonprofit, and that's very clear to be upfront. I've had several people call, "Are you guys? Is this a nonprofit? Is this a charity?" Please keep giving to your local charities. There are people who, your food banks, your local churches. Those are your charitable organizations. We're a for-profit company, and so we're not asking for donations as a means of our operations. So our operations are covered. Um, we none of the money will be used to fund salaries, and just daily operation. This is more investment in growth. And okay, we want some new product lines. Let's to get some new machines. Let's expand facilities to provide more work. And it's more of that's the tangible movement in what we're trying to do. But yeah, we are not a 501c3. It's not a tax deductible donation. And so we do encourage people, just if you have $20 to give this month, and you decide between us and the local food bank, give to your local food bank. This is more just if you've got 20 extra dollars, and hey, I want to do something cool. Let's partner. Let's give it to Mountain Meadow Wool, and let's develop some new product line to help those ranchers, to help the consumers. Let's innovate together, I guess would be the bigger approach.
So why go this direction? Why 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, you came up with this idea? Why go this direction as compared to get an investor to buy a $50,000 machine to make socks?
Yeah, great question as well. Um, One of the things I think we lack in our current day and age is the philosophy of labor, the philosophy of what capital is used for. And I always look at it as capital, financial capital is used to support labor. And I think we've lost that a little bit in society. So we've taken a look and said financial capital is the big goal, and labor achieves that rather than flipping it up and saying financial capital helps us build labor. And so it's more of trying to develop an emphasis on that change and that differentiation to say, let's use money as a tool to build jobs, to create value, to create sustainable living for people here in the United States. And I think that's the goal there, is to emphasize that difference. We could go get an investor to say, hey, here's $50,000 machine, give us a loan for it. I mean, we could go to a bank, finance it through a bank. But we have a lot of people who come and say, I want to help. I want to be a part of this, and I've got $100. So this is a way to say, okay, let's do it together. We'll partner with it. We'll share what we're doing, and let's use that money as a tool to build jobs.
So really, what I hear you saying is this was sparked from actually people coming through the mill, people that are communicating, within the Mountain Meadow Wool community, that are saying they want to help in some way, shape, or form, and it's even more than buying product.
Yep. And I've actually had people go check out to the retail store and give an extra $100 to say, here, just help this company, help make things in America. Let's make something, and let's create these jobs. And I just want to do it just for the sake of doing it. And so I think that's the impetus behind it. Is how do we take those values? People are driven internally, like, hey, I want to help. This is great. How do I help? And this is a way to do that. I do have people who call and they might not know exactly what we do. They've never been here on a tour, and we're just a company name to them. And that's a hard one. And I usually tell them, this whole thing breaks down if you don't trust that I'm going to go and buy a machine to employ another person to help that rancher out. If I say it and don't do it, and I go and I buy a yacht or something with all the money, I mean, that's where trust breaks down without that trust there. And so it's kind of a way for us to say, no, we can do new things together, and with a broad range of people, we can create really fun projects and do really cool things with a large pool of people.
So you mentioned on the announcement that the first $50,000 was going towards a knitting machine, specifically for socks. Tell us a little bit about why that, and are there any plans that when people give money, they want to know that something's going to be given back.
Yeah.
So what are plans in that regard?
Well, that's a good question too, John. So as we grow, we are at some point we're going to get a sock machine. But if we do our internal financial mechanisms through the mill, we grow, we get revenue from sales, from in-store sales, online sales, and it'll probably be a couple of years before we build up enough cash reserves to go buy that sock machine. And so we're going to do it. This is a way to say, hey, we're going to make socks. It's another product line. It's something that people use every day. And so in my mind as well, it's like, how does a company like Mountain Meadow Wool stay sustainable long term? And a lot of it is, how do we provide something that people need? Well, we all need to wear socks, and we need good quality socks. And there are companies that make quality socks. So we're not trying to say, this doesn't exist in the United States. You can't buy good quality wool socks. But there's a distinct way in which we say, okay, we want to be able to do that locally, where we can provide a regional sock. And it's going to be at a small scale. So your large scale facilities produce thousands and thousands of socks a day. We might produce 50 socks a day, 100 socks a day. But how do we start small and start developing that mechanism? One of the things we look at when we're doing a new product line, and this is where I would say, if I donate my money, you want to see something good come from it. And so I want to see that rancher be given a premium for that wool, and that'd be the number one thing. So every dollar that comes into the Mountain Meadow Wool, our main goal for when we started was, how do we help sustain American sheep ranching? And that means for us is provide a premium for that raw wool. And on some years, it's a 40-50% premium over market rate. Some years, it matches market rate if the markets are really good. But we're trying to give stability to those ranchers so they can make good ranching practices and decisions on their ranch to stay in business and give them that income they need to keep that operation running. So that'd be the number one thing, is everything we do when we grow our business, when we grow our machines, when we grow our technical services that we offer, it's helping sustain those ranchers by providing a premium for the wool we buy. Number two would be, we have a lot of people who come in with their own wool. So I have 10 sheep down in Missouri, or I've got 100 sheep out in California, and I want to make something with my wool from my sheep. I've been raising these sheep, and I want something. And a lot of people wear socks, so it's like, hey, I would like to make socks with my wool. So that'd be an aspect of creating a new service for people, so they can make something with their wool. And then at the end of the day, we also, as a company, it's like, okay, the goal for us, as we are a for-profit company, is to have a profit. Our goal is not an exorbitant profit, right? So I think that as business, we have to have that due diligence in ourselves to say, okay, what is a proper amount of profit we should be making? And profit is good and healthy in the sense that it helps a business to grow. It helps us to invest in other machinery, other processes. But at the same time, it gives us the ability to give back. And so within that profit, how do we give back to our communities? How do we give back to organizations? And so that would be with us, is say a sock machine. Say we can make 2,000 socks a year. Well, what percent of that can we give, and to what organization can we give those percent of those profits from that machine, and to help out? Maybe it's a small flock of sheep somewhere, and this rancher has a new business idea, and he wants to do something on his ranch that's innovative. Can we give to that? Can we start an internship program with universities to bring students here to see textiles, to see processing? Can we help grow in a larger kind of that snowball effect? And so it's $100 here, $200 here, given from lots of people. We combine it all, we create a product, we create a new business venture, and then we let that spiral down the road and you kind of pass it forward, that slogan. How do we do cool things using the support of thousands of people that just follow us on Facebook or in emails? And how do we take that support and carry it forward to helping others down the road?
Because Mountain Meadow Wool is one of how many mills like this in the country?
So there's about 120 mini mills, and they're probably, most of them are smaller than we are. There's some that are regional size mills. We're kind of a regional mill, I'd call ourselves. And then there's about 5 to 10 big spinning mills. In the large commodity industry, they've separated out production. So you've got washing facilities, you've got spinning facilities, you've got knitting facilities. We're a very weird dynamic where we do raw wool to finished product all in one facility, all in-house. So it's you walks in the door as raw wool, and it comes out the door as a finished product. And we're pretty unique in the country in terms of the scale which we do that.
And so if just the aspect of how far-reaching Mountain Meadow Wool is, I mean, you mentioned ranchers,
Yeah.
but we talk about, I know you talked about even during the Coffee with Karen, about the lady that had just a small amount of wool that wanted to do something for a special present for a wedding. So those go away if things like this don't happen.
Yeah, we are a way to get something made, and I think that's at the end of the day, I might raise sheep and I've got this valuable fiber, but if you can't do anything with it, you throw it away. Do you just let it compost in a compost heap? This provides a way for people to make something with that wool that they have off those sheep. And so yeah, it's a wedding present for a gal who's taking that wool, making a blanket, getting it for a wedding present. And for me, as a company owner, that's a fun thing to do. To be able to partner with her, and we have a very limited relationship. I mean, it's a phone call. I've got wool. Can you make this for me? Yes, we'll do it, and we'll deliver it to you by the wedding day. And so that's the relationship we have. But it's really fun to be a part of that. To say, hey, this person's life, this wedding present. Wedding's a pretty cool thing. Like, it's a once in a lifetime thing, and so to be able to be a part of making a cool present for that person's wedding is a neat thing to be. And that's why people come through on a tour and they're like, I want to do this too. I want to be a part of this. And this is a way for people to be a part of it in a kind of unique way.
So yesterday, obviously, there was a buzz created.
Yeah.
We had a lot of responses. Have had some donations coming in. So where does it go from here? Because you mentioned transparency during the announcement. You mentioned a lot of different things. What are the next steps? What can people expect from today forward with this particular project, which is MMW Woolly Dreams?
Yeah, I came up with the name for it, Woolly Dreams. Great question again in terms of transparency. And I think as a country, as a society, as a world, we lack transparency. I mean, we have the ability to be transparent with our means of communication. The ability is there, but I think we all feel a little bit of a hesitation. It's like, what's really going on with that company? What are they really doing with my money? And I think that's our goal is, okay, here's how many dollars we received. Here's where every dollar is going. One of the things off the top, our e-commerce platform where you donate through, 2.7% is taken off as credit card processing fees. So, but I think that as someone contributing into this project, let's see that as a line item as well. 2.7% went to pay for the e-commerce credit card processing fees. And let's break that down. How much does that machine cost? How much does shipping cost? What are we going to do with that money? So we're going to create a landing page on our website that talks about this and provides these mechanisms to be transparent. Let's put the data online, show how much money we received, what are our target goals, and we're going to create kind of a tiered list in there. So say we only get to $10,000. What is it? Is that money just going to go into a bank account if we don't get to 50? No. So let's figure out what are we going to do as a value-added process as a new. What is that new thing that we can share and join together to contribute together to create that $10,000? What if we get to $1 million? What are we going to do there? And so it's a way for me to share my dreams with the rest of the world. Say, hey, here's the cool things that I think about. That would be really cool to do, and share that with everybody.
Okay. So, anything else you think that would be important that people would know if they're, I mean, if they're watching this video right now, first thing they've never heard about it
Yeah.
before. What else do you think if you wrapped up this whole project, the MMW Woolly Dreams project, what would it be?
How do we do something different? We've created a norm in our society where I give X dollars and I want 5% return on those dollars. How do we look at the money as being that tool to say, you know what, I've got $50 here. I can go out to dinner with it. I can go give it to this company to go create these products. How do we flip it over and say money's the tool to grow our society, to grow our communities? And we do that in a lot of ways. It's just how do we shift that and make a business that does that regularly and create that mechanism for it? Ask questions. I love it when people are like, I've had someone call and say, this is absurd. Like, why am I giving a private company money and not getting anything in return? And that's that question is, well, you are getting something in return. And it puts the question, I'm not asking everybody to do it, and not everybody wants to. It's just we have people who do want to, but they're getting in return is this, oh yeah, I'm helping make this possible. I look at, there's a company called Food for the Poor, and I give to them, and they say, okay, give $100 and you provide a cow for someone over in Africa for food. And it's a very, oh, I want to give them a cow, yeah, I want to provide them something to eat. Is it really a cow provided to them? I don't know, but it gives you kind of a visual. For us, it's going to be, hey, we're going to go buy this machine, and I'll show you a picture, a video when we actually go pick it up, when we bring it in, when we're setting it up, and there's kind of a fun aspect there of us working together to create these dreams a reality. And that's why we call it Mountain Meadow Wool Woolly Dreams. Let's create dreams around the wool industry, and let's just do things and create and innovate and develop.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben, for
Yeah.
explaining, because I'm sure that made it clear, or a lot clearer, to a lot of people out there.
Thanks, John.